At the Mississippi Arts and Entertainment Experience in Meridian, we believe in the power of the arts, storytelling, and education, just like Mississippi Public Broadcasting. MPB connects communities across the state with quality programs that inform, inspire, and engage. Their audience is loyal and appreciative of businesses that support public broadcasting, which makes underwriting on MPB a smart investment. Join us in supporting MPB. Learn more at mpbfoundation.org.
MPB is on the road again. This time, we're going to our favorite local restaurants to talk to the chefs behind our favorite local food. We'll learn about the history of our recipes, where they come from, and who created them. We'll hear the stories from the people that keep our traditions alive and what new flavors they're adding to it. Because here in the South, our food tells us the story of who we are. Southern Dish, premiering April 2nd on MPB television. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Good morning, Carol. Wait, good afternoon, Carol.
Good afternoon. It's Tony Joe White.
It's Tony Joe White, yeah. Poke salad, Annie. Well, here we are. It's Monday afternoon again.
It
and
is.
We are so glad that everyone has dialed in or is tuned in or is listening on podcast or on Sunday morning replay, whatever it is. We are happy to have you here. This is Deep South Dining on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White and Carol Palmer.
We're going to be talking about a little salad today.
Yes, we are. But before we get to the salad, it was a busy week in my world with this parade and all of that. But what about you? You were
It was
you
big.
had company.
Oh, we had family. Beloved family flew in from Miami Beach.
Hope they brought something to eat.
No, we fed them. They brought a 5-month-old baby and a 3-year-old, and we had a fish fry yesterday.
Oh, I've eaten the fish out of that lake.
Yep. We had some brim.
Crappie?
And we had brim from the lake, and then we had some Simmons catfish.
Wow.
We had some hush puppies.
Man.
We had some slaw.
Yeah.
It was fun.
A Deep South fish fry.
Indeed it was.
That's a beautiful thing right there. Let's see. We had Alex Eaton on last week, and primarily to talk about Lebanese food and Lebanese traditions in Mississippi and in the South. But we also had Joe, the Lebanese breeze, on as well. But we talked mostly about Alex. Lebanese history, but we also mentioned his new restaurant. That's where I'm going with this, La Presa, and it is in Highland Village, and I have eaten there a couple times. Have you tried?
I have indeed.
Okay, good. So you've tried that. Have you tried Masa Mesa, the new Emerson offering?
Have not tried to for lunch, but they weren't quite open for lunch.
Okay.
Have you?
Yes, had lunch there. Hadn't had dinner, but I had lunch. Really nice vibe, great scene, really cool restaurant. Stuck to the basics. Tacos and burgers is what we had, and they were delicious. But yeah, I really loved the warm salsa at La Presa. I really like that. Did you have the salsa?
I did not.
Okay. Well, it's
I had
warm.
the quesadilla.
Quesadilla.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I had the shrimp tacos as well. Very, very tasty.
Oh, and I had the redfish tacos.
Glad that both of them are here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Absolutely. 2 new restaurants in the metro. Let's see. What else? Any cooking and coping?
There was
Just very
there's
little
just there's so
going on
much
this
going. No, so much going on. But one I was just making a note of is that Bob Yarbrough, our just great cook in Richmond, was making all these wonderful things for his new grandson, and I was just thinking about how, babies don't necessarily have to eat bland baby food. They can eat wonderful flavors and things from folks like Bob Yarbrough.
Oh, okay. And you're referring to a dish
some
that
of
he
his cooking and coping, but it just reminded me of a conversation I had with
Gotcha.
my granddaughter this week. She's a food influencer and a cooking teacher and a personality in South Florida, and she has small children. And we were talking about the fact that babies like good food just like we do.
Well, of course
they don't have to eat mushed up peas.
Carrots.
But I was thinking about Bob Yarbrough's baby that he was cooking for, because there was some good stuff there.
All right, we got a caller we're going to go ahead and take before we get rolling too far into the show today. Alice is calling in from Macomb, and she has a comment about eggs. Hello, Alice.
Hi.
What's
I
up?
think you all be the best person to ask about eggs. I got some eggs that are best by September the 10th, 2026.
Okay.
So how long could you have eggs after that?
Well, now I would pay attention to the notice. I mean, I think conceivably you can hedge a month or so if you're really adventurous, but I would say stick to what's on the carton there.
Wait, did you say that they were best by September 2026 or 2025?
February 10th, 2026. February.
Oh.
So you're wondering if they're out of
Okay.
of service.
Okay.
I would think no, not yet.
No, yeah, and I'm gonna look. I mean, usually they're good for a couple of weeks after that.
But if they've been kept refrigerated and taken care of, they should be still very good at this moment and for a week or so. That would be our take on it, right, Carol?
That's our take on it, Mal.
Okay. Does that sound?
Okay, and I'm looking here on a website that says this is a government website. Usually, generally safe to consume 3 weeks after the sell-by date.
There you go.
There you go.
Straight from.
Keep in the original carton.
Yes.
And if you have a question, do the float test. Place the egg in a bowl of water. If it sinks and stays on its side, it is fresh. If it stands on one end but still touches the bottom, it's safe. If it floats to the top, give it away.
Get rid of it. Feed it to the dog.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you, Alice. That's great. We always enjoy hearing from our listeners, and particularly when they stump the hosts.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's pretty easy to stump us, actually.
Well, that's great. So concerning eggs, Carol, recap that for us now.
Okay.
3 weeks.
Eggs 3 to 5 weeks after the sell-by date.
Mm-hmm.
And you can always, if you're not sure, do a float test. If they put a bowl of water, if the egg floats, discard it. If it stands on the bottom, if it's good. If it sinks and stays on its side, it's okay. But if it floats,
be done
get
with
that
it.
thing out of there.
That's right. Get rid of it. Let's see. It is National Sourdough Bread Day, April 1st, and March 30th, Carol, is Turkey Neck Soup Day. So,
well, and that is today. And
yes.
Malcolm, I actually thought of that. I would love to have gone to Lee's Heavenly Barbecue and Soul Food in Edwards today because she does celebrate the turkey neck. But alas, they were closed on Monday.
Oh, well,
so
there you
we'll
go.
have to catch up on that later.
All right, April 2, National Love Your Produce Manager Day, which is relevant because we're going to be talking about produce here in a little while.
And we love Leigh Bailey.
We do. National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, April 2. And National Burrito Day, speaking of Mexican food, Tex-Mex, April 2nd. And your favorite, April 5, get ready, folks. It's
National Baked Ham with Pineapple Day. Now, how does a baked ham with pineapple get its own day?
I don't know, but lo and behold, it has one. And there you have it. So, celebrate, that's what I say. Take advantage of all of that. Let's see. Got the parade behind us now. We're headed into real spring. We've sort of had a false spring, so it is now the end of March, moving in. I love this time of year because people begin to get out in the yard. Me, gardener, I've been out there a while already, but I find myself sitting outside a lot this time of year, enjoying the birds and the gardening. You know, I got a greenhouse last year, and I got a composting bin. So I've been steady, getting ready for spring, for planting. I always have to watch it because sometimes I get a little ahead of myself. I want to go ahead and grow tomatoes. I want to get my zinnias in the ground, but I've been told to wait until April or Easter. So sometimes I fudge a little on that.
Well, you won't have to wait long.
No, it's all right around the corner. You got big Easter plans?
I do not.
Do you have an Easter tradition? Speaking of baked ham with pineapples, do you have an Easter meal?
I do not.
You don't? You know, one thing I used to love about Easter is Vivian's mother, Zita, named for the Queen of Austria, used to make this Easter bread, which was a latticed
it was the
bread
roll
that would hold the
eggs,
which we would dye. And I just remember we would eat the bread on Easter, and we would tear off pieces of it, and some of it would have egg dye on it, and then we would eat the boiled eggs. So I don't remember the name of that bread.
Our only
really
tradition for the past 15 years with John is being out in the country with family and, having some fresh salads and stuff, but nothing particular, just, fishing and hanging and
well, you got the fishing spot, that's for sure.
I sure do.
Not everybody can hang a pole off their back deck and catch.
Well, I hope you'll come join me.
I will. I would love to. Last time I fished there, we fished with the great Richard Ford, Pulitzer Prize winning writer, and he and I had a blast.
Boy, y'all caught some fish.
We caught some fish that day. All right, Carol, when people think of salad, the word salad, what comes to mind? They think of something light, sort of a side dish, something you eat because perhaps it's good for you. But for a long time here in this country, salads were predictable. Iceberg lettuce, a few tomatoes, a generous portion of ranch or Thousand Island. But today that picture is changing. Salads are becoming more, what I would say, vibrant, more colorful, and of course, more local.
Yeah, and that's happening right here. I love the name of Leigh Bailey's company, which is Salad Days, because, that really came from a Shakespeare line that meant young and green. So, people refer to their salad days as their youth. But in Flora, Mississippi, it means something else entirely, and it means lots and lots of fresh-grown lettuce in a new expanded warehouse, and all thanks to Leigh Bailey and Jamie Redmond and Salad Days.
All right, so as we begin this journey, we want to hear from folks. If you are listening and you want to talk about salad or salad dressings in particular, the ones you grew up with, the ones you are using now, we would love to have you join the conversation. We're going all the way from congealed salad right on up to the contemporary fresh hydroponically grown butter leaves, which I love so much.
Yeah, so let us hear from you. I mean, if it was Russian dressing back in the day, which we're not even sure what that was, or
it was orange. I remember
that. It was orange. all the old bottle dressings. What was your favorite back in the day?
Right.
And what do you turn to now?
All right, so we're going to launch into all things green and all things lettuce, and we'd love to hear from you, 1-877-672-7464, or pop us an email at food@mpbonline.org. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll be joined just momentarily by the great Leigh Bailey from Salad Days. Carol and I will be right back.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bobby Rush. As a blues man, I love Mississippi Public Broadcasting. If you support Mississippi music and their local programming, donate now, right now, and become a member today, not tomorrow. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Doesn't matter how big or small, but we prefer big. Thank you very much.
Do you have an item with a story to tell? Experience the Mississippi Antique Showcase April 17 and 18 at the CAPS Entrepreneurial Center in Stoneville. For a $100 donation, you can bring one item for an expert appraisal and enjoy food, cocktails, and PBS Passport membership. Attend as an observer for $60 and watch the appraisals live. Choose your time slot today and be part of this special MPB event. Visit mpbonline.org and get your tickets today.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Deep South Dining right here on MPB Think Radio. Malcolm White, Carol Palmer, and we've got a wedge o' salad here.
Oh, we do indeed.
This is the Waldorf wedge?
Waldorf.
Dorf.
The reimagined Waldorf.
Wow, it is really good. The apples and the grapes and the
little crunchy
pecans.
Pecans and
so good.
And that is a specially made poppy seed sweet onion dressing made specifically for you guys by Meredith Carter of Railroad Pizza, and she has she's made several dressings for us today. So she is a dressing queen, and she has rebranded her dressings under the Two Sundays brand. So if you're looking for dressing, look for that.
Now, where would you find these
I am so
dressings?
excited that we're talking about this.
Sullivan's grocery stores in Gluckstadt and in Flora both have it, or you can buy them in the restaurant.
I can't even remember 20-something different salad dressings.
And growing. I asked her to make me 2 dressings, and she made me 4. So that's Meredith.
You know, Malcolm, that's what we learned when we did that show in Flora a few years ago. She came on the show and talked about that they make their dressings fresh. And so, we go all the time. And when I walk in, I tell them what kind I want to take home. And they go make it.
It's amazing.
Get a quart to take home.
She's a dressing artist for sure.
Oh, that's terrific. Leigh Bailey has joined us here from Salad Days. And it's hard for me to get a word in because I'm pretty focused on the salad here. So tell us again what we have. You told us, but on the front end, but I want to reiterate this.
Well, so the reimagined wedge, everybody knows the wedge is the iceberg chunk with the blue cheese and the bacon and the tomatoes, and that's a delicious salad, but the way to make it more delicious is with a locally grown, nutritious head of Bibb lettuce. It's got a great crunch in the middle, so you still get that aspect of it. And the wedge can just be so many things. I've made y'all a Waldorf wedge, which has the apples and the grapes, the celery, pecans. I think traditional Waldorf would be walnuts. But and then instead of just the mayonnaise and sweet dressing, this is that sweet onion poppy seed on there. So, you can just think outside the box. And the other one that you have in front of you is a Greek wedge. So it has a creamy feta, also made by Two Sundays.
Oh, that's over here, right?
And yeah,
I'm over here on the Greek wedge.
you were thinking,
You're on
where's
the Greek
grape?
already.
I'm looking for the. I was going, boy, Lee, this fetish really.
I think Java may have stolen, or somebody took one of the other ones, but y'all will have to cut them up and share. I tried to give you a knife because you do need a knife with that one.
So, Lee, you refer to this lettuce as bib, and I call it butter. Is that the
Butter.
same thing?
Same. One and the same.
Just has two names.
Yeah.
You think one is more correct than the other?
I
or?
guess just industry-wide, I learned it as bib, as the variety, but butter does sound very good, and that we've always marketed it as bib, but it is the exact same thing.
So your operation is a hydroponic farm that specializes in growing pesticide-free produce and is able to supply a wide variety of lettuces 365 days a year. And it's operated by Jamie Redmond and yourself. And you guys have, well, first of all, I want to touch on hydroponic. And I tell this story every time you come on the show, that when I was a kid living in Perkinston, the president of the colleges who lived, their home was across the street from us. His wife, Lil Hayden, had a hydroponic garden on their courtyard. And she also grew watercress and spinach and all sorts of things. As a child, it was just mesmerizing to me. But she would have fresh tomatoes, all through the warm. It was outside. It wasn't in a hothouse or anything. It was just out on the patio.
Like a tower?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So anyway, I've always been fascinated by hydroponics. And so tell us a little bit about your operation. I know you recently had a ribbon cutting.
We did. We have been in business 14 years now. It's hard to believe.
Unbelievable.
I know. Time has flown. We have been in a 18,000 square foot greenhouse in Florida all this time, and that greenhouse is been good to us. It's churned out a lot of good produce, but it was lacking in some of the technology and the size. We were never able to keep up with the demand, and so we said, well, what are we going to do? We're here. We are at this juncture. We're either got to expand or so we took the leap, and we have just moved into a brand new 65,000 square foot building.
Oh my gosh!
It's overwhelming at times. You can definitely get your steps in that place. But we're going to be able to produce 3 million heads of lettuce a year out of this facility.
3 million.
3 million. So hope you're hungry. Hope everybody's liking salad. But it's fantastic. The technology and the efficiency that's in this facility is far and away better than where we've come from, and we're just delighted to get out of our Dodge Dart and into our Lamborghini.
All right. And how many people does it take to drive the new Lamborghini?
We are looking at around 20. It's still, humans are still doing it a lot. There's a lot of automation in there. The channels, you plant the lettuce on one end, the babies transplants go in on one end, and then they move all the way down the greenhouse to where they're harvested on the other end. So all the harvesting is done in one line instead of the old greenhouse where you're running all over the place trying to harvest here and there and yonder. It's much more efficient and time-saving that way.
So what does this mean for your customers? I know restaurants are your main customer. Is that correct? And then
we have always been heavy on the restaurant sales. The food service has been great to us, and we've been lucky to have some really fine chefs and well-known people that have loved our product and have put us on the menus. And so the public has really gotten to know the name Salad Days. They see it printed on menus here, all around this area, down into New Orleans, the Gulf Coast. And our retail business has been smaller, mainly because distribution and our limited supply that we had previously. So our goal now is to bump up the retail, get into more stores, and become the choice of the home chef. If the best chefs in the Southeast are choosing it, these James Beard winners, these Michelin recognized chefs are choosing it, why wouldn't the home chef want it if they can get it too? So we're aiming to go far and wide in the Southeast in grocery stores.
Well, I'm really pleased that my personal grocery store in my neighborhood in Jackson has it, Corner Market.
Corner Market's great.
They have a really large display.
They do, and we are
so
now.
is that their display, or do you put those in? I mean, there's.
We helped with some signage, but that's their display, and they wanted to feature local. They're really good about that. They're based out of Hattiesburg, and we're now in all of their stores in Mississippi, which I think it's 14 in Mississippi, and now they have just moved into Alabama. So they're in two locations in the Mobile area and Foley, Alabama. So now our product is down there, and we've also just recently, within the last week or so, come on board with another group that has 3 stores in Natchez. And then there's Faraday, Louisiana, and Vidalia, and Macomb. So we got 9 new stores out of that group within the last week. So
can you share the name of that group so people?
The group is Harps. They're based out of Arkansas, and they do have that banner, the Harps stores, that we hope to grow within that company. But these stores are operating under some different names, such as Natchez Market number 1, Natchez Market number 2, the South Side Market. They have different banners they're operating under. So,
and what about Sullivan's?
Sullivan's, we have the Gluckstadt store and the Flora store, and we hope to branch out with them. They're building a new one in Brandon, which we will be in there as soon as that one's finished. So we're trying to get the Southeast really covered with something grown in the Southeast.
So I want to ask you a question about the process. So being hydroponically grown, do these vegetables, and I know you don't just grow lettuce, but that's primarily what you grow.
It is just lettuce.
It is just lettuce, okay. But different varieties, right? How many?
We've about 5 varieties. The other 4, besides the bib or the butter, go into our spring mix. So there are going to be some red, some green, some curly, some smooth, some oak leaves. So those all make up our spring mix.
So the question is, does this product is it ever in the ground, or is it always just in liquid?
Never touches the ground. Right. Never touches dirt. It is raised up off the floor and grown in channels, and you can see some pictures on our website at saladdaysproduce.com of how it looks in there. But it's a clean, very sanitary environment, and it's never touched without gloved hands. It's not sprayed with anything harmful. When you have a roof over your head, that helps a lot with keeping the pests out and any kind of contamination from any birds or wildlife or anything like that when you have field grown.
And is the general consensus that because it's grown exclusively in the manner in which you just described, that it is more flavorful, or does the dirt in some way contribute to the flavor of the lettuce? I don't know. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that definitively.
Because this is very flavorful.
It does have a flavor, and I think that's the most surprising thing that we learned when we started this business, was that lettuce actually does have a taste if it's grown properly, if it's not iceberg. Iceberg is just crunchy water, basically.
Right.
And
right.
So,
and it's wrapped so tight in something.
Right. But this does have a flavor. I mean, field-grown stuff can be great, too. And I know a lot of people, especially when it comes to tomatoes, there's a big debate about, if you don't grow it in soil, they can't be good. But we grew great tomatoes hydroponically years ago, and we discontinued those. But we made believers out of a lot of those people that said you must have dirt. And so it's when you deliver the precise nutrients to the plant.
That's what I want to know. So how are they fed?
They are fed with a custom fertilizer mix that we test our source water. So the water that's coming, we use a municipal source of water from Flora. So it's a very safe, clean water source that's tested regularly. And we test for what's in that water naturally. And then we add to it based on what that plant wants. So it's calcium, magnesium, potassium, all the ingredients that your plant wants, but you base it on what you start with your source water.
Cool. And so again, how many? 3 different kinds are you saying?
We generally have 3 or
mix?
4 in the spring mix, and then the bib.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know, how did you get from real estate to lettuce?
That is probably my most asked question. And
I mean, not just like little real estate, big real estate.
well, yes, and my husband Jamie was also a career real estate broker in Georgia, and so we both just kind of got to a point in our careers where we were just tired of it, and you have so little control over a real estate deal that no matter how hard you work, no matter how you do everything right, it still might not even close. And and every time you do close a deal, you've just put yourself out of business again. You got to start all over again. So we just, when he moved here, when we got married, he said, I can't start over in real estate in Mississippi. I don't know people there. It's all a contact sport,
Right.
So we just started thinking of what we wanted to do, and we looked at a lot of different ideas and landed on hydroponics, and took 2 years of studying and going to classes and reading and visiting other growers, and just thought we had educated ourselves enough to know what we were doing a little bit, but turns out, it was still a lot of baptism by fire.
Did you purposefully set out to stock restaurants and focus on chefs, or did you just think we're going to grow a bunch of lettuce and people are going to buy it in grocery stores, or both?
I started out by polling the chefs I knew in town, and being from Jackson my whole life, I knew a lot of the chefs, and I went to Derek Emerson and Robert St. John and Jeff Good, and a lot of the ones that have been here for a while, Louis LaRose, and all these guys that were really doing it well. And I said, if I can grow this, and I got some tomatoes and some lettuce from another grower, and said, look at this product, would you buy this? And they said, oh heck yeah, we would. We're so sick of this stuff coming in on these trucks. It's been riding for miles, thousands of miles, and it's coming in bad all the time. And so I have to give credit where credit's due. Those guys really got us started, got us on the map, and people believed in it. We did a lot of farmers markets. We did a lot of garden club talks and school talks, and just getting our name out there. And it was not an overnight success, I will say that.
Wow. Well, it is a success, and you have now expanded to this enormous facility. What becomes of the old greenhouse?
Well, we were just talking about that today. I think we have one more harvest coming out of the old greenhouse, and then we're shutting her down. And everybody we've been so strung out trying to operate both greenhouses for since the end of the year, last year, that everybody has been saying, I just can't wait for that one to be gone, and we don't have to deal with that one anymore. And now everybody's kind of shedding a tear this week, and we're going to have to do some kind of video footage of the last head of lettuce coming out of that facility.
You need a ceremony.
Week. We do. It's kind of a funeral, and we have some growers, small growers from other states that have heard about that we're shutting down, that want to buy some of the equipment, and so there are people coming to pick her apart in a week or two and start taking fans and.
So you can't use any of that in the new space because it's a totally different animal.
Totally different animal.
Yeah. So you own the greenhouse and the property, or you just?
It's Flora's 16th section land for the most part.
You have a long-term lease.
So we have a long-term lease. So we will dismantle the old greenhouse and hopefully be able to sell the long-term lease to somebody for a beautiful some kind of development. A lot has changed in Flora.
Spot.
It's a beautiful spot. It's right in the middle of town. Mm-hmm. It's nice high ground. It's really nice. So I don't know if it would be a housing development or a commercial development of some sort, but the town of Flora, as much as we love them and they love us, that is not the most aesthetically pleasing use for the old facility. So they're happy that we're doing this.
And your neighbor Two Dog Farms is
they're still there.
Still there.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure they're sad to see you go.
They are, and we're
collaboration that has been.
We're only 2 miles up the road, so
you're in the industrial park now.
Yes,
right.
Yes, we're still close, and we still sell to them at the farm store. So our lettuces, we go in there all the time taking.
That farm store is really a great addition to our whole area.
It is wonderful.
It is.
I was in there today buying my fresh, barely homogenized milk and my Peggy Martin Rose.
There you go.
Everything you need.
There's life. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a break and come back with more from Leigh Bailey and let us hear from you, Carol.
I like that, Mal.
Let us know what you think about the show so far, and
let us entertain you.
You can let us know by calling 1-877-672-7464, or just pop us an email to food@mpbonline.org. We'll be right back with more Deep South Dining, and in this final section of our show, we will be having congealed salad. We'll be right back.
We're going to take salad to a new level.
School choice, rural hospitals, voter access. The 2026 Mississippi Legislature will impact you and your family for years to come. MPB brings you At Issue, a weekly analysis of the legislative session and the issues affecting you, with perspectives from both sides of the aisle. Brandon Jones and new At Issue analyst Rebecca Staples join me, Wilson Stribling, every Monday at 5 p.m. only on MPB Think Radio and wherever you get your podcasts. MPB, your stories, our mission.
MPB is on the road again. This time, we're going to our favorite local restaurants to talk to the chefs behind our favorite local food. We'll learn about the history of our recipes, where they come from, and who created them. We'll hear the stories from the people that keep our traditions alive and what new flavors they're adding to it. Because here in the South, our food tells us the story of who we are. Southern Dish, premiering April 2nd on MPB television. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Mississippi is a place of deep roots where every story matters and every voice can be heard. At MPB, we stand with our local communities, bringing you the voices of those who shape our state through local programming that reflects our culture across small towns to big cities, from the Delta to the coast. We tell the stories that define us, from the music that carries our voices to the leaders who inspire change. MPB brings you the heart of Mississippi, celebrating Mississippi one story at a time. MPB, your stories, our mission.
Welcome back to Deep South Dining. Malcolm White, Carol Palmer, and our great special guest, Leigh Bailey's here, and we have, yes, lettuce in our teeth as we munch our way through an hour of Deep South Dining. Welcome back, Leigh. We're glad you're here. Deep South Dining and Salad Days. Once again, we're glad you're back. So, when we were talking about having Leigh on, we had a little group text thing going, and we were talking about salad dressings and different types of lettuce and what Leigh does.
We were playing by text.
We're playing. And somehow we got down this rabbit hole of aspic, congealed salads, and our traditions as kids growing up in homes that used to make those things, and you don't see them much anymore.
And there's a reason for that.
And we were interested, as we usually are, where did this start?
Yep.
Yeah, the evolution of salad. And so we discovered that the word salad comes from sal, which in Latin was salt. So salt is really, the key here. And in Rome, like, salads were really simple. They would take salt and olive oil and sprinkle it on herbs and greens, and they would serve it much like we do now at the start of a meal, or in Europe is a third course. But just very, very simple. And then over the ages, salads evolved. In the Middle Ages and in the big estates of Europe, the kitchen gardens, you would grow all these things in your kitchen garden, and you would just put salt, maybe a little vinegar, oil, and that's how it came. And then they went way to the other end and discovered
Thousand Island. I thought that's where you're going. But yes, congealing is even further down that road.
Where they would boil pig parts and beef parts to get the gelatinous cartilage to make the gel.
Yes.
They
So
were reaching for
Leigh went above and beyond and brought us a congealed salad that her mother made. Is that right?
Well,
Or
it was
your-
my
your
grandmother's
grandmother.
recipe,
Okay.
and at first I need to go on the record as saying I am not a fan of gelatinous texture. But this salad, when we got on that text about all the congealed thing, it did take me back to my childhood and my grandmother's recipe. And I thought, well, I'm just going to Google it and find. I know basically what was in it, but I'm find the recipe for it. So I got on there, and there was no recipe for this. And thank goodness I could remember it. That hers was apricot Jello, a box of apricot Jello, and then instead of the water that you'd normally put in Jello, you boil a cup of orange juice, and then mix up your gelatin in there. And then you put a cold cup of buttermilk.
Wow.
So
I'm
you-
not picking up buttermilk, but
Well, that's what makes it cloudy, I guess.
That's what makes it creamy like that. And
I like it.
And the listeners can't see that I put it in tiny little Jello shot
they can.
cups that I didn't have a mold. I wanted to do a fancy mold, but
You know, you cannot find little bitty Jello molds. I mean, I owned a gourmet store, and people would come in, and they're always looking for sets of molds, like on eBay. And there are people that are still molding mini salads.
well, I had to resort to shot cups.
This
but-
was good.
But
give
you
us your
can
recipe
add.
here.
Sometimes she would add bananas, sliced bananas, or crushed pineapple.
Yes.
This is just
Grapes.
the straightforward version. But if as far as congealed salads go, that's one I could manage.
I would say for all three of us, this is the taste of our childhood.
absolutely. The instant I put it in my mouth,
Now,
I was sitting at my grandmother's table in Wiggins.
I felt exactly the same.
And there you have it.
Well, I'm
So,
glad we
Leigh,
could take a walk
you
down
had
memory lane.
a Jello buying experience.
I did, and I had to like ask somebody in Sullivan's where the Jello is. Used to be, it was
It's like one whole section.
huge, like the soup, like Campbell's soup, like a big giant thing. But now it's just a tiny little aisle, and I went in search of apricot Jello, and there was no apricot. So this is peach. That was the closest thing. They had mango, which I was a little afraid of the artificial flavor of mango. I just didn't know about that. But
Right.
That would be a newfangled flavor, I believe. From
There's a beautiful photo
oh, horrors.
of a congealed salad.
Have
Is
you-
that lobster? And that's a seafood salad. You can tell because of the parsley and the lemons, but
Have you seen the one where they put cut up hot dogs in gelatin?
no, that
oh my
wouldn't
God.
that wouldn't
A
appeal
bridge
to
too
me.
far.
Yeah, that would be too much.
But we had many things congealed, and when we would go to school, you would get a little cup of Jello, cut up like
Cut
chunky
up
ice cubes
with fruit cocktail.
Yes. So,
You remember the old advertising for Jello as a kid? What their jingle, their slogan, what they would say, their brand.
Remind us.
Make friends, make Jello.
yeah, make friends with Jello.
You would make the idea was if you
Jell-O
made up a big
friends.
batch of Jello, people would come
Everyone
over.
would want to be your friend.
And Malcolm, it was for fun that never ends.
And there you have the rest of it.
Yeah.
A jiggly dessert.
Yeah. Yep.
Well-
okay, let's talk about lettuce type salads over the drowned in very thick salad dressing.
Well, and I want to be sure everyone realizes that I am certainly a fan of comeback and ranch and blue cheese and all those delicious heavy dressings, but you don't have to use as much on flavorful lettuce. You can if you'll toss it and it really coat the leaves lightly, you don't have to have those big blobs of it all over your salad. But then again, I really do like a light dressing. I do love just a good old olive oil and vinegar or some lemon juice. Got to get your salt right if you use a lot of lemon juice or a lot of vinegar. But
I wonder what our listeners' favorite salad dressings are. I know
Yeah.
I have a few, but I have become identified with comeback over the years.
yeah,
but
and
sometimes
there's,
it's a bit heavy.
There's nothing wrong with a heavy salad dressing. There's everything right about it. But salads today, the dressing is becoming, a real star of the dish. And using like tahini-based salad dressings that use chili crisp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yogurt as opposed to mayonnaise.
Yeah, there are just so many wonderful, flavorful things that the dressings really shine.
Fresh herbs are always a star. But we have really, as you can imagine, Jamie and I eat a lot of salads. And
I was going to ask you what your favorite is, but go ahead.
Well, we turn everything into a salad, and
why wouldn't you?
I mean, it's handy.
Steak on top of salad.
Absolutely, hamburger. One of our very favorites is a hamburger salad.
Yeah,
and
I love it.
And I have used to just put sliced dill pickles on there, just like dill pickle chips. But I have found the fried dill pickles in the where all the little salad toppings, all the nuts and all that stuff.
The fried onions and all that
well,
stuff.
right there they have the fried dill pickles, which is a really nice crunch on your hamburger salad. So we do tomatoes and cheese, and I'll put avocado or just whatever you would feel like.
So this is something would be like a taco salad. I mean,
except it's a grilled burger patty that just sits up on top.
Up on top of your lettuce.
I love a crab cake salad.
Ooh, yes.
And one of those salmon cakes that I get from Whole Foods. I love that on top of a salad.
Yes.
Here's another thing. I like to lightly toss the salad, and generally it's got apples and tomatoes and onions and all sorts of things in it with the lettuce. I toss it, and I like to put it on top of my pizza. So you get this cold, crisp, warm, salty bite every bite. It's hard to keep it on there, but I love to put it on there and bite it and put another chunk of salad on.
Something rich, like a really good piece of beef or a pizza or something that has a lot of rich flavor, to me is so much better if you pair it with a light, crisp lettuce leaf. I've gotten to where, I love a really good piece of grilled salmon it's fatty fish, but it just cuts it. That lettuce is just, I really like the addition of lettuce to most anything.
Yeah, me too. And particularly the stuff that you guys grow. It's so fresh and so crisp, and it just is so alive as opposed to the old lettuces we used to get, which just seemed almost past.
Well, once they
prime.
cut them in California, they cut that head of lettuce and put it on a truck and send it here. They've killed that plant when they cut it.
Yeah, and it goes to a distribution center even before it comes
right
here.
And then they started the trend of all the pre-cut, chopped up salad, which really adds to the decomposition process. So they shoot that nitrogen in the bag and try to keep it as healthy as they can for it to make its trip here. And then the minute you open that bag and let that nitrogen out, if you notice how fast it goes bad, it may look okay when you pick it up on the shelf, but anyway, this is alive. It's got a little bit of the root still on the plant when you buy it. So the amount of time you have before it goes bad is easily a couple of weeks, and if not longer.
When we were thinking about dressings the other day, we were having our little group chat. I saw a quote when I was doing my research. It said, dressing starts with oil, but now the oil has a backstory. And, that reminded me that now the olive oil, it's like a wine. When you go somewhere, the olive oil has its own personality, its own region, its own
flavor
source.
profile.
Yes, flavor profile to go with the salad.
And look at that shop J Olive and all of the oils and all of the vinegars. And you could just make a endless amount of dressings from pairing different ones of those, and that's all you need.
Do you get sort of called out in restaurants on menus where they'll say salads by salad days?
Yes,
you get that.
We are always so grateful and happy when we see that, because what a better vote of confidence that a restaurant's willing to put us on the menu, and it proves that not only is the product superior, but it's consistently available year round. They won't print that on their menu if they don't think they can get it all the time.
Right.
So that's been a big. It took a while to get people to agree to do that, because they were used to farmers that would come in with strawberries in the spring and then they couldn't get them anymore.
Right.
And so we've taken the seasonal aspect out of lettuce.
Wow.
The flip side of that is when we as customers, consumers, see it on the menu, it automatically elevates the experience for us because we know the restaurant is doing something intentional.
To support local.
Yes, and it's not just something that fell off the back of a truck and they took care in buying it and sourcing it, and they're proud of it.
Please say thank you for serving Salad Days lettuce when you see it on a menu, because those restaurants they go the extra mile for sure, and we're very appreciative.
Yeah, well, it's good stuff, and we're grateful for it, and we're so excited for you guys to be expanding. Do you have a lot of empty space, or is all the space taken already?
We planted it all up front, knowing we would have too much, because it takes a while to get the traction when you're going to have 7 to 8 times the amount of product coming out of this facility that you had before, it takes a minute. So we've kind of tapped the brakes, backed it down just a tad, but can ramp it up immediately. It's basically from a seed to a harvestable head is about 45 days. So, it takes that long to get a vendor set up going with a grocery store chain and those kind of things. So there won't be any downtime of anybody that needs lettuce, call me up. We'll be ready.
Well, Carol, from salted herbs in ancient Rome to ranch dressing in mid-century America to greens grown right here in Mississippi, the salad has been evolving.
It has indeed. And Leigh Bailey has been evolving.
And we're grateful for you guys.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Leigh.
Deep South Dining is a production of Mississippi Public Broadcasting's Think Radio. We are funded by the generous contributions from listeners like yourself. Our show is produced by Marissa Vaughn. For our guest, Leigh Bailey, and my co-host, Carol Palmer, I'm Malcolm White, asking you now to please stay tuned for At Issue up next. And join us next Monday at 4 p.m. for more Deep South Dining, and every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. for our encore. And you can download us and podcast us anytime, anywhere. We're heard exclusively on MPB Think Radio.